If you thought the COVID 2 weeks to flatten the curve mantra was the ultimate con to get you to accept lockdowns and restrictions and total control, just wait, guys, because they just dropped the sequel. And this time, it's short-term pain for long-term gain.
This is a short-term disruption for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain be for long-term gain.
We're going to have some short-term pain with long-term gain.
Short-term pay for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain, yes, but we've got some long-term gain. Short-term spike for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain for American consumers.
We may have to deal with that in the short term.
Short-term and temporary.
Temporary, short-term pain.
It's going to suck in the short term.
Some short-term pain.
Short-term pain. We have to focus on the short-term.
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 Short-term and long-term.
Short-term blip.
Hopefully this is a short-term pain.
Short-term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefit.
Some short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Yes, you heard that correctly. The exact same script has just been rebranded, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. The problem reaction solution playbook is back in full force, and this time, the problem is war. The Iran conflict that they've been engineering for years now has generated the exact reaction they wanted. Panic, shortages, and the perfect excuse for the next phase: energy lockdowns.
Take a look at those Bowsers. You can see that every single one of those has either covered up or they have a sign on it saying no petrol. Everything is out of service. There is no fuel whatsoever here.
The state premiers are calling for a national response, Cam, as more stations are running dry.
Yeah, and Kieran, Chris Bowen there telling you that there is a lot of planning going on behind the scenes and wargaming about potential responses.
Look at this clip from India. Absolute pandemonium. A massive crowd panic buying gas because of widespread rumors of an imminent fuel shortage. People are losing their minds. They're filling up every container they can find. And this is just the beginning. And this is not just India. They're showing you the reaction that they manufactured so that you will beg for the solution. New Zealand is staring down the barrel, on track to run out of fuel in about 19 days. Their own government data and the fuel clock are screaming it. Just-in-time supply chains are collapsing exactly as planned. Here's the map of where energy lockdowns have already begun. 4-day work weeks, schools closed, rationing, empty pumps, price surges. The dominoes are falling in real time. And this tweet right here lays it out perfectly. Day 26 of the Hormuz blockade. 20% of global oil is gone. With a country-by-country breakdown. Sri Lanka is rationing. There's crisis in Pakistan. India is down to 9 days of reserves. Japan lied about their numbers. The UK is facing shortages starting in April. The real energy crisis hasn't even started yet, and they're not showing you the full picture. They're showing you reserves are sufficient, while the shelves empty and the panic sets in. Even Larry Fink, the man controlling $11 trillion at BlackRock, just came right out and said a global recession could be the outcome of this war.
Well, we have two very extreme outcomes. And in my conversations throughout the world with the U.S. government, all that, to me, everybody has to recognize there's not going to be an outcome that's somewhere in the middle. It's going to either be two extremes. Is Iran a country that can be accepted by the international community? Can Iran be a country that participates in the world again? And if that outcome occurred, then you could have the Iranian oil back into the marketplace, alongside the growth of the Venezuelan oil, and you could paint a picture where oil prices could be lower than they were prior to the Iranian war. If there's a cessation of war, and yet Iran remains a threat to trade, a threat to the Straits of Hormuz, then I would argue that we could have years of, above $100, closer to $150 oil.
What happens to the global economy if that happens? How do we see it?
We'll have global recession.
And as if that wasn't bad enough, now the International Energy Agency dropped their report titled Sheltering from Oil Shocks. where they openly recommend full lockdown-style measures, like work from home where possible, lower speed limits, reduce driving, cut back on flying, even alternate day driving bans. This is COVID 2.0, my friends, with an energy crisis mask. They're telling governments to prepare the exact same restrictions that we went through in 2020. But this time, it's for your own good because of the oil shock. But we're not stupid. We've seen this movie before. And now, to really sell the fear, they're flooding social media with fake AI videos of people hoarding gas at gas stations.
You gotta be kidding me, mate. Hey, you gonna leave anything left for me? Hey, don't take all that fuel, mate. What about me? God damn it, man. He's leaving nothing. He's taking it all. Greed. You greedy man. You greedy man.
Now watch this one with the exact same audio, the exact same van, filled with the exact same gas cans. Only this time, it's different people with added confrontations.
You gotta be kidding me, mate. Hey, you gonna leave anything left for me? You gotta be kidding me, mate. Hey, you gonna leave anything left for me? Hey, don't take all that fuel, mate. What about me? Hey, don't take all that fuel, mate. What about me? God damn it, man. He's leaving nothing. He's taking it all. God damn it, man. He's leaving nothing. He's taking it all.
What the fuck are you recording? What are you doing? Come out of the car, have a crack. The fuck's your problem?
Greed. You greedy man.
You wanna be a fucking Karen and record? Get out of the car, cunt. Get out of the car, you Karen. Come here. What are you gonna do?
You greedy man. Greed. You greedy man. You greedy man.
So, why are they doing this? Well, here's what you have to understand. The Iran war isn't about Trump versus Netanyahu versus Iran. That's just the puppet show. That's the us versus them distraction that they want you mesmerized by. But you have to look at the shadows on the wall of Plato's cave. Always look at the outcome and not the theater. This is about artificial scarcity, engineered shortages, and energy lockdowns. They create the problem, generate the reaction, and then roll out the solution. The perfect excuse to push digital IDs for fuel rationing, central bank digital currencies for fair distribution, trackable carbon allowances, and the full New World Order control grid that they've been building for decades. This is the plan unveiled. The problem is war, the reaction is lockdowns, and the solution is total centralized control. The plan is being unveiled right in front of our eyes, guys. Short-term pain for their long-term gain.
Multiple countries are now instituting COVID-style policies in response to the war, with Australian officials even expressly calling them COVID-style measures. From fuel rationing, license plate readers, tracking how many days you're driving, proposed fines for people who drive when they're not allowed, even down to telling you which cooking methods you're allowed to use. If this is all sounding far too familiar, that's because it is. It was planned a long time ago. It began during COVID, and it is accelerating into the next phase now. It's called the Great Reset, and intentionally or not, this war has caused the perfect storm for governments to seize the opportunity to achieve what the green agenda could not because it wasn't tangible, thus people weren't buying it. An actual crisis, however, with an actual lack of resources is tangible. Not only has it been the plan for decades to get us to this point, but there's proof that this is what they are doing right now. A 10-point plan recently published by the International Energy Agency spells it out, and countries are following it to a T.
You know, look, there was this 5-day grace period that Trump gave. I know what that is. Everybody knows what that is, or you should know what that is. And what that is it is a delay until Friday. So somebody looked at him and said, hey, you gave that 48-hour warning. You're going to just blow up critical infrastructure and commit war crimes on a Monday when the market is open? You can't do that. Hold on. That's got to be done on a Friday after the market closes. Okay? So he gave the 5-day grace period, and the clock is ticking, and now in the sights are these water desalination plants and critical infrastructure like electricity and energy. And of course, like we're seeing in Cuba with all of the lights off, you will soon see in Iran.
So this is far bigger than most people have any idea about. This already is probably the biggest event since World War II, with all of the oil infrastructure that's already been taken out and the natural gas infrastructure in numerous countries, including Iran, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, even Israel had their major oil refinery blown up recently. Then on top of that, just 2 days ago, the Ukraine's back and they bombed Russia's one of its largest oil facilities. Then, of course, just yesterday, the Port Arthur facility in the U.S., one of the largest oil refiners in the U.S., was on fire. So this is becoming very clear now. This is going to be their energy lockdowns, their oil shock crisis, that they'll be locking down the world again. They actually already have in places like what I call Australia, because Australia basically was locked down for years and brutally beaten if they even left their house. And they've already, the supermarket shelves are already almost empty, and they're actually running out of diesel already. And many parts of Asia are already like that as well. And this is just beginning. This, as you mentioned, they're planning on doing much more probably later this week. That will, with everything that's already been taken out, we're talking about 20 million barrels of oil of the Strait of Hormuz isn't moving. Then there's all these facilities I mentioned, there's numerous of them. They're all around 500,000 barrels a day, which adds up to millions of barrels a day. All that's offline right now. So even with that alone, if you look back to the oil crisis in the 1970s, which was pretty massive, that was 4 million barrels a day of oil went offline. Now we're talking 25 million barrels a day. So about 5 times or more, 6, my math isn't that good because I went to a government indoctrination camp, but 6 times, I think, bigger than what happened in the 70s. And if anyone was around in the 70s, which I kind of was as a young child, it was chaos. It was mass inflation. That's what we're going to see as well, because oil and things like that are involved in basically everything in the modern world today. So we're going to see massive inflation. We're going to see oil shortages, energy blackouts. They already started that in Cuba, which they did on purpose, which they wouldn't let ships come in with oil. Now Cuba, the entire island, is without electricity. They're talking about doing that in Iran. And this is coming to most places on Earth. This is their next big thing. This is the biggest thing since the COVIDs, which they did 5 years ago, which of course Donald Trump was heavily involved in with Operation Warp Speed. And he also increased the debt more than any U.S. president in history during that time when he tried to kill everyone in the U.S. And now he's basically the front man for a massive, massive depopulation event, because not only is it the oil and the gas that is massively just gone now, it's just gone. That is a big part of fertilizer. And actually, a lot of the fertilizer comes from that region in the Middle East, a lot of the nitrogen and the sulfur and things like that. So we're going to actually see a massive drop in fertilizer, massive increase in the price of energy. And that's going to lead to massively reduced food supplies in the coming year or two, which will probably cause a mass depopulation event, probably into the billions.
Hold on a second. When you say things like this, I don't think people, because you've been studying this for a really long time, you know all these things, you can rattle these things off, no problem. I don't think that people are really ready for what it is that you're explaining, which I believe is accurate, that is about to hit. Not just in these, isolated third world backwaters, not just in Iran, not just in the Middle East, not Russia, not China. You think those countries are going to allow themselves to fall? This is going to happen here. And I don't think that people are really, truly ready. Explain exactly what this means. You're talking about massive shortages, massive outages. Explain the everyday life of an American under the conditions that are quickly moving their way this direction.
Well, we're going to see massively rising oil prices. I think the price of oil right now should be around $200 to $300 a barrel, just based on all the supply that's been lost. It's currently around 100, and actually it went down recently because Trump said there was peace talks, which he totally lied about, and they actually made hundreds of millions of dollars buying longs on the stock market and shorting oil just minutes before that, like they always do.
It's just so brazen. I mean, these people they have to know that stuff can be tracked, that people can see that.
Well, that doesn't matter. They control the SEC. None of those people ever get taken out, of course. They tried to kill everyone in the U.S. with the vaccines. Has anyone ever looked into that? And I should point out, most of this is actually really ramping up because, and I said this before, they will blow up the world before they'll allow all that Epstein file stuff to come out. And what happened? They finally put out, some decent amount. They still redacted a lot of it. And then soon after, no one's talking about it anymore because we're basically headed into World War III now. And that is part of what they're doing. They're going to depopulate the earth. So for the average person in the U.S. is already on the brink of economic catastrophe. Most of your average people are living paycheck to paycheck. You see it nonstop on TikTok. People can barely afford food, and that's the same in all Western countries today. Once the price of oil and gas and things like that go up dramatically, which they will, you'll see the price of food doubling in price, things like that. Most people won't be able to afford it. You'll see I think they're not even close to being done yet at all with what they're doing with all this oil stuff. So they're going to wipe out even more of that stuff. And that's going to basically lead to shortages. If you can get oil, it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 times higher than it currently is. Most people can't afford that. So you're going to see a complete financial and economic collapse. This is all part of what I put in my book, the controlled demolition, which I talked about how they've actually been putting this into place for the last 100 years, and this is one of the final stages. So you're going to see basically everything collapse. You're going to see all stock markets, all bond markets, all banks, all financial industry, everything just basically collapse. We're basically heading towards, by far, easily the biggest event in human history in the next year or two. And you can see no power, things like that. Of course, there's ways to protect yourself, obviously.
No power, no travel. You're not going to be flying around in aircraft because you won't be able to afford it. Can you imagine what ticket prices will be? Can you imagine what Jet A fuel will cost?
So many airlines have already canceled thousands of flights. We're going to see, and that's what they said at the World Economic Forum as well. They said they want to make it so no one can fly anymore. Well, they actually had a plan for it, and that was to use the carbon credits and make it too expensive. But most people weren't falling for that anymore. So now they're just getting rid of all the oil so that you can't do it anymore. The World Economic Forum said only the rich people will be able to travel in the future, and anyone else will just travel via an Oculus VR headset, is what they said. We're all under attack right now. The world, humanity is under attack, and the world's going to change massively. This is 100 times bigger than the COVID. And this is what Klaus Schwab, Satan Klaus as I call him, said was going to happen. He said the cyber attacks, which we actually haven't even fully had yet, they're going to be doing that as well. And they keep warning they're going to be doing that. Will make the COVID-19 look like a minor disturbance. And that's what we're in now. We're in the second phase of their massive event. And your average person has no clue. And they really should be. There's so many ways they should be getting ready right now, and I don't see many people doing it.
They really don't. It's frustrating when you talk to people and they look at you like, okay.
Yes, this is absolutely cataclysmic. I expect by this fall, you won't even recognize the world. It'll be that bad. So you need to be prepared in every single way.
Like physically, you won't recognize it?
Everything will be shut down. Everything that exists today, most of it won't exist anymore. And only if you've got your own food supply, because there's not going to be much of that. And only if you're out of cities, so you're not getting basically killed as everyone panics as all this stuff happens. That's in my opinion, what's going to happen definitely in the next year and probably by this fall, in my opinion. So everything's going to be actually collapsing. So you really need to be preparing physically, mentally, spiritually right now. Prepping as much as possible. I would suggest if you're in a major city anywhere, you begin getting ready to get out of there as soon as possible, or at least have a place you can go to once this really starts to happen. Essentially what you're going to need for the next couple of years is you're going to need to be outside of major cities. You're going to need to have access to your own food supply and grow your own food preferably. You're going to need to protect yourself, obviously. That's pretty obvious because it's going to get very hairy. So you need to be in physically good shape. And So it's really taking everything back into your own hands. And actually, this is quite a beautiful thing in the end, Stu, because all of these systems that have been built up have been completely taken over by evil forces, basically. Everything in the world today is pretty evil. The banks, the Wall Street, Hollywood, all these sort of things. And they're all going to be going away. And that's good, but you're going to have to survive it. And it's actually time for people to actually take everything back into their own hands. Grow your own food. Wake up to what's going on. I've seen a lot of people saying things like, don't, because people are actually catching on. We're actually I didn't see that at all during the COVID. Almost everyone fell for it at first. This time, a lot of people are catching on. This is their next phase of depopulation, their energy lockdowns. I've seen a lot of people saying, don't comply. But this isn't a comply necessarily sort of a thing. This is
you're not going to have a choice.
Right. You have to survive this. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people are missing. And they're not getting prepared. And they really should be getting prepared. And you have all the things out there. You have everything you need to get through this. But you have to actually take action very quickly here. And in order to survive what's going to be coming. The thing is, though, that what's happening right now is not fake. This is going to take out basically the modern world, the civilized world. It's going to be gone in the next year or so. And there's really almost no way to stop it at this point. But what we do know is that most of the people, like the billionaires and the people who are in control of most of this world, they're very aware of what's going to be happening. They've all got their bunkers ready.